Hi, brothers and sisters, and welcome back to Lesson Gems. My name is Brother Lammers. I'm going to be teaching the lesson that is slotted for Wednesday, December the 13th, or whenever you teach the lesson in your New Testament teacher manual that is labeled Revelation chapter 12. So let's get right into it today. This lesson is intended to increase our students in their commitment to follow Jesus Christ, but by helping them remember that they have already chosen Jesus once before, and they fought for that choice, but they may have forgotten. So how can that help me in mortality? So this student preparation call-out box, I'll return to it in just a second. It's important, but we'll come right back to that. How I'm going to set this up is help them understand that it's going to take effort. And then I'm going to be specific in the effort that I'm going to ask them to make today. In the Doctrine and Covenants, section 9, verses 6 through 10-ish, Joseph Smith and Oliver Cowdery are translating the Book of Mormon. And Oliver asks if he could do it, and he wants the spiritual guidance and answers, and he's not receiving them. And he asks God why, and he kind of whines about it. And Oliver doesn't understand, and here's how the Lord gently helps him understand. Oliver, you desired this spiritual knowledge or to understand things, and all you did was ask. That's it. You have supposed that I would give it unto you when you took no thought, save it was to ask me. Behold, I say unto you, Oliver, or classroom today, if we desire to understand spiritual things that are maybe difficult, we need to be willing to put an effort into it or to study it into our minds and then ask for help to understand. And even more so than that, students, I'm going to invite you today to use your journals. I'm going to invite you today to open your scriptures extensively. I'm going to make sure that we have opportunities to be taught when things are difficult to understand, because Revelation chapter 12 is very symbolic, and it's difficult if you're just going to, Heavenly Father, please help me to understand. They may not understand. So help them know that it's going to take effort, but let them know, today I'm going to invite you to use your journal, use your scriptures, get into the insights. You got to share them with me. Whatever it is that you want them to put effort in, let them know that's what you expect. And then now we get right into the lesson. This readiness from Sister Nelson is awesome. I'm going to use it word for word the way that it's asking me, and the 2 bullet point questions afterwards. It's fantastic. Managing our students' time right here when we just want them to know a little bit of context. Please don't spend all your time talking about the symbolism. Help them understand that in the Joseph Smith translation section, there are 17 verses that are in the JST. And so model for them where the JST is. So if they're in their quad or their Bible, it's right after the Bible dictionary, which is the Joseph Smith translation. But if they're on their Gospel Library app or their phones, remember this is what it looks like. You go to Libraries, change it to Gospel Library if you're on a laptop or a desktop, make it look like their phones. Then you click on Scriptures, you go to Study Helps, and in the Study Helps you'll see right here where it talks about the Joseph Smith translation appendix. So if you click on this, the very last one is Revelation, and you go to Revelation in the New Testament. If you go into chapter 12, this is the one that we want. So help them understand they have this in their scriptures, and they're going to be using it heavily for the next few minutes. Bring them through the symbolism, help them understand verses 1 through 3, but then spend the majority of your time here in verses 7 through 11. What are they learning? Don't be afraid of the question, what stands out to you? What do you not understand? Even if you don't understand, help them know that. Be transparent. We're here to learn together. I may not be a gospel scholar, but I desire to know these things, and so let's work on it together. They don't desire that. They want you to be sincere and real with them. So be real up front. This is a power statement that I hope that we spend a lot of time with, or at least emphasize heavily. They overcame Satan in and through Jesus Christ. And how they will overcome Satan every day is in and through Jesus Christ. Help them relate that all through the story and in their lives today. Write this down physically, somewhere in their journal or on the side margins of their scriptures. I love this power phrase, and it's going to be a big part of the lesson going into, now I said this little call-out box at the very beginning of our lesson. Before asking these next 2 questions, the effectiveness will be so much more powerful or impactful if you go to the very beginning of your lesson and a day or 2 before the lesson, you use this student preparation call-out box. How can I do this? A text or an email we can make sure that our families or our students have had an opportunity to think about these questions before they come to class. Because if you ask a question cold, right, like this here, how do you see the war of Satan started against our followers? How do you see that today? You might have the blind leading the blind, or just people trying to give you stuff because they love you and they want to answer good. But if they've had a chance to think about it or even discuss it in their families, this question will have so much more weight and impact or effectiveness if you take a couple of days or at least a little bit of time beforehand to prepare them for that question. Lastly, help them bring it home. Invite them to act. If it's not this question right here in the lesson itself, invite them to act by one way that you've talked about in class. Remember, don't try to be very prescriptive, but inviting. How will you be better? What will you now go and do? How will you act because of what we were doing here today? Brothers and sisters, you're incredible. These lessons in Revelation chapter 12, the symbolism is difficult. And as we were learning from Joseph Smith and Oliver Cowdery in section 9, it's going to take a little bit of effort. So prepare them up front for the effort they will need if they truly would like to be impacted or to understand what is being taught in the book of Revelation. You can do it and keep doing what you're doing because you're amazing.